working on the Sophie hood mainly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so pretty already.
Yeah. I would say, hold on, let's grab it.
It's a big project. I think it's like a deceptively big project. I feel like to be like, oh, I'm just going to knit this hood, but it's actually like a hood and a big shawl. It's huge. A lot of knitting. How many, do you remember, like, do you know how many yards of yarn are called for this
I had project? To get, I think it's 600. It's big.
So that's like half a sweater.
And the thing is, like, it's a lot of counting. Boy, oh boy. It's a lot of counting. You don't think it's hard to count. It's not the counting that's problematic. It's just the turning of the counter. It does it counting for you, but you can't ever really get in a full zone. So what I've...
Yeah. Public service announcement, briefly. Public service announcement. People will tell you that the Sophie Scarf viral knitting project, or the Sophie hood even, but especially the scarf, people will like list that as a beginner project, and I beg to differ. I think that it is not. I mean, an ambitious beginner, if you want to try it, of course, be my guest. But it's like, and it's lovely. I've knit one, go for it. But it's tricky. It's fiddly. And there are other easier projects that will, for a very beginner knitter, will give you like a very similar finished project with maybe a more enjoyable knitting process. So that's my PSA.
I'm actually wondering why exactly. So you say fiddly, and especially wondering because it was the second thing I ever knit. Yeah. But of course, I did have you. To help me with the knit front to back, and you made me a little video. But because my thing of why it's not beginner friendly is like, and this is what the memes say, right? Like, the one thing I learned from knitting the Sophie Scarf, ... I can't count to 8. Like, and that's the thing, right? It's like, it should just be so simple. But what is it to you as a seasoned knitter that can look at that pattern and clock what a new knitter may have trouble with? Because it's a very viral pattern. And people do, and there's thousands of projects. And
thousands. Like, I want to see how many have been posted to Ravelry, because it's got to be so many. Thousands.
Also, while you're looking, if you want to keep looking, I'll just show and tell. So for those watching, here's the hood that I'm working on now, and I would say it's, I don't know, maybe I would say it's like 16 to 18 inches. It's pretty long. It no longer resembles a thong. Thank you very much. And unfortunately, the very first one I knit is downstairs in my car, because you just never know, even on a 99-degree day, when you might get a little chilly neck, so I carry it with me. And that one was the Sophie Scarf. The difference is that the construction of the scarf, you work it the exact same way, but then when you get a certain width in a middle point, or when you get to the middle of your amount of yarn, you then start decreasing, so you get this pretty gentle sloping scarf that comes to a gentle little point and then trails down. And with the hood, you actually do a similar thing, but you're continuing all the way up and separating at the back so that you come together, and then you can like join in the back, so you make a hood that also has this beautiful long tail that you can wrap around.
It's very romantic. It's so
cute. It really is. Is. Very much so. My first one had visible issues, but small. Visible to me, but really it was around the I cord. So is that the part that you think is fiddly?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Sophie Scarf has, and the hood, that you work a built-in I-cord edging as you go. And certainly after a while you get the hang of it, but I think setting up for it is very confusing. I remember the wording of the pattern to be kind of like, what? Like I started one when the pattern first came out in like this white cashmere that I had for some reason, and I never finished it. I knit like 5 inches maybe and was like, I still don't get this. Like, I mean, and that's maybe a me problem, but I had already been knitting for like at least 10 years at that point. So but it just was not clicking for me.
I wonder if it wasn't clicking for me either at all, and you were the one who made it click for me, and it was so simple, but I never, as a new knitter, would have done it because I felt so precious about everything that was on my needle. And I didn't know, and I still kind of don't know, what is like foundational or a substantial like part of how the knit or the purl or whatever that stitch is, how it's getting formed, how the garment's getting formed. So I don't really want to mess with it. But what you did that completely changed my experience of knitting this the first time was, as you're knitting the I-cord, especially down at the bottom, you can't see a gosh darn thing about what's going on. It just looks like a bunch of like clumpy knit.
It's so confusing when you start.
You took my needle with its little 1 inch of jumble on the bottom, and you grabbed the stitches and you pulled them down. You tugged and pulled and gave them a little wiggle, and they settled in. The I-cord like created itself that way instead of like bunching up.
Yeah.
And it was the moment when I was like, oh my God, I get it. I see what I'm knitting. I could not figure it out. I was like, what am I making? I'm just knitting inside other stitches.
Yeah, it's so weird when you start it. The
other thing is if it falls off the needle, I have just barely figured out how to put any stitches back on the needle.
God.
Like a regular stitch. I'm like, is it right? Is it twisted? I can't do it. The I-cord, I've ripped this actual one out 2 times because the I-cord slipped off and I couldn't get it back on. So
yeah. Well, hey, do you want to guess how many Sophie Scarf? So this is just the scarf, not including the hood.
Yeah.
How many scarves have been knit and like the person, how many project pages there are on Ravelry. So that's not even how many have actually been made. I remember there was like an estimate that like a quarter of, I don't know, whatever. We could
like if you start a project on Ravelry, that doesn't imply it's finished.
You create a project page for it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, and my point is that so many of these have been made and nobody ever creates a project page for them. So the real number of how many of these things has been made is,
yeah, because I didn't start a project page for this one or the other one. Yeah,
we're not huge Ravelers. I mean,
I'm gonna take a guess. I would guess. All right, so like 1,200.
So many more.
So many more?
So many
more. Like 7,000.
52,000.
What? 52,000?
Yeah.
52,000 projects? And that's just the ones we know of, not counting my 2. So 52,002, in fact.
Exactly. It doesn't, Isn't that wild?
52,000. So it truly is like viral.
Yeah.
It's an enjoyable knit so here's when I'm working on it. I'm not working on it. It's my travel project. Because when I take the subway, I can't zone out into this big whatever, or I can't focus really hard on charts or whatever. Not that I even know color work, but what I can do is I know I have time for knitting 1 row or 2 rows. And I'm not distracted by watching TV, so I'm not moving my counter. So I keep it in my purse, and it's become like my bus ride, subway ride, waiting to pick up Violet at the thing ride. Because if you knit 2 rows, because you see the progress so much more. 2 rows on this is like, oh wow, 2 whole rows, So that's it.
And this is a great, I will say, in its favor, it's a great project if you have like your one special ball of yarn, right? Like maybe you went on vacation, maybe you got a gift, you have this beautiful special ball of yarn that makes you feel a special kind of way and you don't know what to make with it. You can make the Sophie Scarf because, if you have a kitchen scale, because you weigh the yarn before and then you knit all the way until you've used half the yarn, and increasing. And then when you're halfway through your ball, you start your decreases, and you can use the whole ball however much you have. And so that is, you know, we all, like, we need those kinds of projects because we all have, we all have those special balls of yarn that are precious, and if you don't have the right project for it, it just sits in your basket forever and never gets made into anything, and that's really sad. So make it just a little cute little scarfie that you wear all around the town and enjoy.